Ancient Mystery School, Saint Germain. Getting right to it. Easter, Ishtar, Zeus, Jesus, Hell Zeus, Jesus. All are a conundrum of different belief systems that were put together for the main purpose to really, in a nutshell, manipulate you. And a lot of times, because over the years, your relatives have passed it on to their children, and those children pass it on to their children. So the indoctrination runs deep. But we have to understand that even in these modern times, if you have a schedule, if you have a time schedule based on a Gregorian calendar, which is Pope Gregory, you are still a slave, unknowingly. Because for them to be able to take one of their ancient gods and make it a belief system that controls you in the present day is the reason why I'm saying that. Indoctrination is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to us. And words are really no longer necessary at this point in this era, in this season that we have learned all of the terrible things that are going on with us. The reason why it's terrible is because even at this point, people are still lined up at the fast food. Even at this point, people are still taking the synthetic medication. Even at this point of knowing all that we know, people are still comfortable with this system molding and conditioning their children. So I could easily talk about how Easter is insignificant, but everybody's caught up in that program. And the program is the invisible chains that keep us all indoctrinated. Around 300 AD, meaning Anno Domino in their curriculum, or after death, however you want to say it, there was a council, of course, called Nicaea. And what they did is they took their Roman and Greek gods that they had prior to the belief system they created now that we call Christianity. They took Zeus, which is in Latin Jesus, and then Jesus became Jesus. Ishtar, Easter, Christmas has to do a lot with ornaments and a tree. I think it has to do with Mithras, if I'm not mistaken. But what gets me is when people tend to ignore that one belief system they have has a history, and it's been predated, and it's shown over history that this is what's going on. So our prison is our amnesia. And even if it's allegorical, as I always say, we have to realize that we are the Christ. You know, all the praise and worship, which is a slavery trait, went to deities that they created. But we have to realize, even in there, the disciples were taught to walk on water. The disciples, after the so-called death or ascension, depending on what information you prescribe to, everyone was able to do the same things because as a collective, we are the Christ. And if you are from the image of God, you are the imagination of God. Therefore, you are also a God. And in your enlightenment, you will take on these gifts to heal, to control the 5 elements, to understand. And when all said and gone, the only teachers that we really ever needed were the animals, because they're totally unindoctrinated if they're not in a zoo, if they're not in a circus, or if they're not part of an animal farm. And it's ironic that I said that because a lot of us are a part of a zoo, a circus, and an animal form. So the indoctrination has been done. So really, when we are young, one of our worst unknown enemies is our parents, especially if they're indoctrinated. because they continue to feed you the same poison that they will feed. So we have to understand that, because we are from the inside out, and that's the only way we'll be able to heal. Regurgitated, indoctrinated information, taking their medicines, lining up. And right now, a lot of things are being done to food and different things like that to probe us so we can be prepared for another jab. And I think I said that in a couple of films ago, around March and April, they were going to start this thing with a pandemic. So at this point, we realize that we're in a giant laboratory, every smart city, and the simulation that everybody's talking about is being created in the present. So pretty soon, with the artificial intelligence or the AI, you won't be able to discern reality from illusion. Because as I've told everyone, artificial intelligence is a camouflage for the true entities. It's a gateway. It's a stargate. However you want to review it. It's a doorway for the entrance of the demonic entities. Because if you can't discern what's AI and what's not, you're not going to be able to know who's attacking you, who's destroying you. Because now we're in a world of confusion. We don't know how to tell what's real and what's not. We're addicted to our phones. Many won't be able to let go of their phones, and they know that. And pretty soon you will be a phone. That's how deep the indoctrination is going to keep getting stronger and stronger. Because our prison is amnesia. And the key is to remember that we are the Christ. We are the anointed. We are. So in the reflection, discernment is the key. Solitude, silence, discernment. Discernment to see what lies ahead. Because if you're not in the now, you will always be a part of the program. Love is necessary, but love is only valid when it's unconditional. So all of the indoctrination about love thy enemies and love thy neighbor has made you docile because of the program. Everything has damn near been a lie. And the only thing that's real is unconditional love. Ancient Nine Mystery School, Saint Germain.